Welcome to Studio Kitchen, Colorado, home of the modern eater. Juan Padró sitting in for Greg Hollenbeck. Episode 4 or 5 for me. It's been pretty awesome, and we got an incredible show today. I'm super excited. Co-hosting with my good friend, my business partner, Ben Higgins. So we have a lot to talk about, but we're gonna start out with Dave Hadley. How you doing, man?
How's it going, brother?
It's great to see you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, and Dave owns a samosa shop. You've got some TV to talk about.
Yeah.
And we got some entrepreneurship I think we're going to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
today.
dude, I would love to talk about that. So what's up, guys? I have the samosa shop that I've been doing right now. The big thing is I'm finally bringing some good Indian food back to Denver. I mean, for me, this is the representation of like the food from my heart.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be that place in Denver for that. We all have Indian food here that we like, or we really go to. That's our normalized thing that we like, or our curries that we love. And for me, it's trying to bridge that gap between Americanized food and Indian food.
Yeah.
So
And you grew up in New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about your upbringing and how did you get into food, and like you have a ton of passion. So
yeah,
I
man.
want to
So
understand
it's crazy.
where all this is coming from.
It's crazy. Luckily for me, my dad, it comes from the West Indies. We're from St. Vincent, the Trinidad and Tobago area, and then my mom is from South India, from Kerala. And we grew up in a family full of 6 people. I lived with my grandma till I was about 13 years old. So during my life, all the way till I was 13, I lived with my grandmother on my mom's side. She was cooking all that food in my house. Meanwhile, I'm talking like my mom and dad used to tell her, you need to go outside and cook fried fish in your little fryer outside, because that would smell up the whole place, right? And I have my friends coming over when we were younger, and I'm out there like trying to be like, guys, don't worry about my family smelling in the kitchen, and like let's just go to the sunroom. Now it's a whole different story,
So fried fish. What else? What are some of the things that
fried fish?
bring the nostalgia back?
We did fresh bread. We used to do chicken curry, a lot of veggies, a lot of things with coconut. For where we're from in the South, in South India, we don't use a lot of meat. It's a lot of seafood, a lot of veggies, coconut based, because we don't have a lot of dairy, no refrigeration, things like that. So for us, or for me, luckily growing up in a culture that my family was cooking from both sides of my culture, South Indian food and from St. Vincent. So I had the curry goat, and then I had curry chicken.
There is influence from the Caribbean side in your food.
Correct. That's kind of my goal, is to really bring my story, my food story, through these little samosas. And that's kind of what this is, for example, like I have my cornbread samosa that I'm going to give you guys today. That has a little bit of Chinese sausage, scallions. That used to be my great aunt's from my West Indian side, her family recipe. So I basically took that, mixed it all up with the samosa filling, put that inside of her samosa, and now giving people, little loves, little locks of love that I love it. I
love it. I like the whole samosa shop idea. To me is really cool, and I think it's attractive to millennials. I think they were really going to get introduced to a cool new cuisine that they may not be familiar with, especially on the kind of where we are in Colorado. Like on the coasts, much more popular food.
Yeah, man. California, East Coast, New Jersey, New York, LA, Miami, Florida, you're going to find Indian spots, Indian pockets. And what's funny, when I worked with Bijou's little curry shop, when we first started a couple of years ago, just seeing how many, the Indian population, what we have here in Colorado, it's not small, but it's not huge. It's not as big as it is in New York City.
Right.
So my idea is to bring those flavors here and make it cool. I mean, I'm sure you like a dumpling spot, or you have an empanada spot, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the perfect vehicle, at least in my mind, to gain attraction, or something that people could just bite and take with them to go.
You're from Indiana, right? So talk to me about like where you grew up and the types of food. I mean, are you rural Indiana?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of the food there is fried. It's a lot of fried foods, heavy. We have a huge ag population, so a lot of the restaurants are set up for huge portions. Like you're going into a restaurant, get a big portion, and you're getting your meat and your potatoes, and you're
super Midwestern.
And so it wasn't until Denver that I really got exposed to cuisine that like not only kind of satisfied my desire to like be full, when I really am hungry and be full, that's an Indiana thing, but also like to try new flavors. You said something a little bit ago, and Juan's the food expert here. But it was really interesting to me, and I've always wanted to ask a chef this. You said you wanted to really take American and Indian cuisine and kind of like infuse it together to make it something new. Like when you start to do that, when your creative process starts to think about that, like how does that work in your mind when you say, I'm going to take these two things and make them one?
It's crazy you say that. I mean, I think about me growing up, right? I'm from New Jersey. What did my friends like eating when we grew up? We like bacon, egg, and cheese, right? Or Taylor ham, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. And for me, I think when I started these farmers markets this summer with the night market crew, I saw a bunch of kids running around. And for me, I wanted to get those kids to start eating my samosa. And for me, thinking about what would connect the flavors that I know, but recognizable to Americanized flavors, well, the best thing I know to do is put that bacon, egg, and cheese inside of the samosa and start bringing it to people.
Sort of like almost like translational, like, okay, you don't know what a samosa is, but you do know what bacon, egg, and cheese is. So it's not going to be as intimidating. And hopefully, as they acquire a taste, and they like what they're eating. They get to eat with their hands. They get to break things open. They get dipping sauces.
All the three chutneys are the
stuff.
same. I don't change the sauces, which is also Indian inspired. So it gets these young children or young minds to start thinking that Indian food is not something that you have to think about when you go out or one day of the month. This could start being normalized food through all generations, through all type of cuisine, just like rice and beans for us.
That's right.
Rice and dal is the same thing that we would do with rice and beans, and that's what we grew up on. That's a staple. Well, that's what people want. That's that home food that people really enjoy and they love.
Like soul, we've been talking a lot about soul food this week, and it's when we think of soul food, we think of like barbecue, Southern, all that kind of stuff. But this is soul food, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy because when I started this whole samosa thing, I remember going to India with my family for my cousin's wedding and seeing these men on the side of the streets just in their little stalls, but so many people with big walks full of samosas and them just selling it and just selling and selling. And at that point, it's not about the selling or anything. For me, it's really not about how much money I make anymore. It's now, this is finally food from the soul and from the heart that is mine. This represents me.
It's an expression of you.
Exactly.
Which is really cool. So let's talk a little bit about TV.
Yeah.
Right? You were on the Food Network, and we have a new show.
So
Supermarket Stakeout, debuting tomorrow on the Food Network.
Tomorrow on the Food Network. I will be on the Food Network tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's a competition show. Alex Gornishelli, Iron Chef Gornishelli, is the host of the whole show. There's basically, it's pretty crazy. Us, four competitors, run up to the store with people in their carts with random ingredients. You have $500 to basically bid against all your other chefs to get their ingredients.
Okay.
You don't know what's in the basket. You don't know what's in their basket. But there's a theme that's given to you in the beginning of your whole round. And you have to create food that represents the theme. There's stipulations between each round, only a certain number of people you could get, all that fun stuff. And for me, I'm a competitive guy.
Sounds exciting.
It's so much fun,
we're super excited. I don't know if you know this, but this guy was on a TV show once.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
I think I do.
It didn't take any skill. Like it took you to be on this, but I was on it. How did you get on the show?
Funny story. Back in the day, I was actually with Diners, Drives, and Dives with Bijou's Little Curry Shop. Okay. And this is in 2013. 2014, 2015. And then 2016, 2017, I ended up getting producers to come see me at my own restaurant that I was working at, and I went on Chopped.
Okay.
I ended up winning Chopped in 2017, went back for Chopped Champions. I don't like talking about losing. I don't like talking about winning either, because we don't like talking about any of that stuff. But hey, it only helps you to lose to then go on and do something.
The Tom Brady of samosas.
That's right.
So let's eat something real quick, guys. Ben, let's get you in really quick on some of this.
No, I would love to. Real quick, I know a lot of people out there really know their food, and you guys obviously do yourself. What is a samosa?
Oh, good question. I love this. All right, so a samosa to me is a pastry-filled something, right? It's a vehicle for a bunch of potatoes, peas, carrots, dates. It could be anything. And, I don't know, when people say, what is an empanada?
Right.
What do you say? Do you say it's just a
Depending on where it is, it's a
dough.
stuffed pocket of deliciousness.
Yes, like, what is a dumpling? I don't know. It's a stuffed pocket of deliciousness.
That's right.
And for me, this I believe is the perfect vehicle as we move forward in our, like you were talking millennials and something new and different. We have empanada shops. We have dumpling shops.
Samosa
Why
shop.
don't we have a samosa shop,
Okay.
So this is it.
Cool.
So you have on the left side, you
Yep.
have some cornbread
Okay.
and a little bit of Chinese sausage, and then these are under the vegan, my vegetarian ones that I really like serving. These are the #1 seller. You have a tamarind date chutney, a cilantro mint chutney, and I saw Brother Luck brought you some scorpion sauce,
He
right?
did.
Well, this is a scorpion sauce, but this is from the islands of where I come from, the West Indies.
Okay.
So we have a scorpion pepper
right.
from the West Indies.
Yeah, it's a different
maybe
color.
different, right?
see that?
It's a different color. That we also sell these bottles and stuff. I'm gonna leave it for you guys here at the
Awesome.
at the Modern Eater, but
So cornbread and
cornbread
vegan.
and the vegan ones. You have a cilantro mint chutney. You have a
So let me see if I can crack this open.
yeah,
here.
get in it. Ooh, yeah.
I mean, how hot is this?
Yeah, that looks great.
How hot is it? You're gonna try it with that yellow. You see that
gonna
yellow
try it
sauce?
right
It's
here.
not that hot. The flavor is what's going making you go back. Got a good crunch.
What are you talking about?
It's pretty hot.
All right, never mind. It's hot.
All right.
Dip it with all the other
I
stuff.
dunked
Dip it with all the
aggressively
green and
Into
the.
what?
Into the yellow when he said it wasn't that
That's
hot.
what that
so
is?
these two are the tamarind date chutney and the cilantro mint chutney, or what you
It's hot.
usually, what you
And it's
look at that.
delicious.
Is it good flavor?
Yeah, it's got it's got this
Oh,
like
that is
flavor that
beautiful.
lingers in my mouth that I love.
That's the whole.
I don't love like the ruin your palate hot. I want flavor. I want that to really bring out other flavors too.
Of course.
So, okay.
So then you have a tamarind date chutney that's sweet, and you have a cilantro mint chutney that's the fresh herbs. I make those fresh every time that I go do these pop-ups.
The theme today was hangover food because of the Super Bowl yesterday.
good point.
This is actually pretty banging
Yeah. It sucks up anything. I mean, this is awesome, and I love you look
You went
inside of
vegan?
it, and I went vegan. When you look inside, I mean, there's so much going on inside here.
Yeah, man.
so many-
I'm glad that you see
Hey,
that.
Dave, this
Ooh, and
is
you put in
really
the sauce
good.
back like you like
is
it or
really
something
good.
because it's hot.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
Yeah,
Look at that.
it's a good spice.
Yeah, so inside of the samosas, usually samosas, everyday ones that you could get in the stores, those have potatoes, peas, cumin. That is the everyday samosa, okay?
Right.
Potatoes, pea, and cumin. To me, that's boring, okay?
Yeah.
To me, every single samosa is
You
potato,
can put
pea, and
you
cumin,
can put anything
right?
in there though, right?
You can put anything
Yeah.
in there. For me, it also goes back to the spices, right? We use my family spice blend inside of the vegan one. It has potatoes, peas, carrots, dates, raisins, apricot, the fruit,
Yeah.
all of that brightness in the
I am
vegan
shocked
one.
at how light and fluffy this is.
Yes, I'm
I
glad
mean,
you like that. I'm
you know,
glad you
gotta try
understand. This one has got a little bit of, all the potato in there is not heavy and dense.
No.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to
How
be
does
that.
how does that work though? How does
So just a lot of, old school French techniques of how to make mashed potatoes turning into Indian food, right? I went to CIA in New York, had a great, crazy culinary journey of learning, but it's taking all of those basics.
and you've
those
worked at a
basics.
lot of like high-end restaurants, right?
Yeah,
Which is-
man. I've been lucky enough to be blessed to work in some great restaurants. I've done some Michelin stars in Thailand. I've been able to stage around the country.
Did
and
I see you
different-
staged at Gagan?
Yeah, I was actually there for a couple months.
Really?
I actually got to stay there longer. It's one
Wow.
of those things where you get if you go for your 3
I mean,
months.
that's a world-class.
Yeah,
restaurant.
man, it was a blessing in disguise because talking just like you and I got to speak to Gagan like that, and he would tell me honestly how my food is, and for me, I really believe that this is how to do it. This is how to get those flavors out there. And yeah, man, working at a Michelin, at Michelin starred and that intensity, you get 3 months to work with a man or anybody in those restaurants, and in those 3 months, if you could show that you have some sort of quality that they want to keep in you, they're going to ask you to stay for another month longer. And from then on, I'm lucky enough for me, I stayed out there for 6-7 months before I was like, my visa was up and I had to come back before,
Well, that's
was
amazing.
crazy,
I love
but-
all that. The fact that you've always continued to learn. I think education is such a huge part of this, right? And you're taking what you've learned at CIA and down at Gagan and staging at all these restaurants and working at places like Acorn in Denver with great chefs like Amos and
and Russ.
and Steve Redzikowski and guys like that are just incredible. And then you say, hey, you know what? I mean, I'm inspired to do something that reminds me of my childhood. I want to introduce people to, my family's food, my culture's food, and I'm going to do it in an innovative, fun way. And I just, the story is great. What just happened?
Yeah, what was that?
what I just did is I dropped some curry leaves in there, okay? You guys are going to taste that inside of this beef dish that I made.
Okay.
Okay.
What I have in here, so you guys can all see, a little bit of garam masala, toasted coconut, cilantro, and fried onions. And basically what's about to happen is this is a dish that we in India call Kerala beef deep fry, okay? It's a drinking dish.
Kerala?
Kerala. Kerala, where I'm from.
Oh,
actually,
that's where Bijou's from.
yeah, that's where Bijou's from. Actually, this
that's
is
kind of like
perfect.
the beach areas.
This is perfect. This is perfect. I brought this for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Look at this, everybody. I want everyone to see this. I don't know how high you could get, but India is so big. Look at this region, right? Most of the food that everyone eats is up here. I live right. My family's down in the. Right in the corner, in the island, like right in the base, right by the water, you know?
Yeah.
This is what most people eat Indian food is like,
Yeah.
you know, North Indian Rogan Josh, butter chicken, tikka masala, all those things. That's not where we come from, you know? We eat something a little lighter, a little different, and this is what it is.
I love it.
So, this beef.
What does a drinking dish mean? You said that.
Drinking dish. I love that. Drinking dish. So my culture where I'm from in Kerala, we have this specific drink called toddy. I don't know if they have that in Puerto Rico, but it's coconut liquor. Okay? It's basically derived from the coconuts, from the sap of the tree. You have men that are up there that climb up the tree, take a little bit of yeast. They scale the coconut tree, right? They scale the coconut tree. They got a little bit of yeast. They put it up in their palm, in the heart of palm, right? Heart of palm, like how we would eat heart of palm.
Yep.
They put the yeast there, and all of a sudden the yeast starts to create a liquor, and the liquor gets collected. The liquor then gets fermented, and you start drinking that, and that shit
Strong.
Yeah.
That is called. This is the toddy food, right? And toddy is the drink. And in South India, where we come from, this is it.
These stories are incredible.
Oh,
Okay?
dude, yeah, it's
And
incredible.
the idea for this is Ben.
Yeah.
My sister is a huge fan.
Oh,
okay?
nice.
I just want to let you know, my sister's a huge fan.
That's
You need to
beautiful.
eat this beef dish with this fresh bread, which you guys saw made earlier today, the paratha, which is layered bread. It's not like naan because it's not done in tandoor.
More like a
made
roti.
Made with like a roti. The idea is to take this, rip some off, take a little bit of that, eat some of that, and I'll throw a little bit more finishing salt on there and a lime because I know we like lime.
And is this
around
a
where we're
spicy
from.
dish?
This is not spicy.
Okay.
Any of this stuff
is-
go with it?
You could put it on there if you'd like.
Nah.
The idea is just plain old, rip that up, tear some beef in there, enjoy that because I really think that you guys will see the
Man,
flavors.
that's beautiful though.
It's
it's
And this is the street food that I would eat. And you know, for people asking, where can I get this beef dish? Well, you could get these samosas with me at any of the pop-ups that I do around town. But the
Bread is,
beef,
like, super flaky.
the beef dish, I try to do kitchen takeovers or take over a bar every month. And this month is going to be at Brass Tacks on the 21st.
I love it.
Sunday, the 21st. I'm going to be taking over Brass Tacks from 5 to 10 p.m. So you'll be able to get this beef dish there and a couple other cool stuff that I do.
Really cool textures and flavors.
Yeah, man.
Yum.
A little crunchy. Got some coconut in there.
Yeah, I love it.
that the batter. I don't know if that's the right word. Like what you fried it, what you
So
coated
it's
it in.
crazy. Gluten-free.
I was gonna say it's light, it's fresh. It's not like an Indiana like heavy fried batter.
No. It's actually funny that you said that because I like to make it as gluten-free as possible. I don't know how well it is with the fried onions, but the actual beef is dredged in a little bit of rice flour to give it that lightness with the garam masala, coconut oil, and yeah, man, this is the food from me, right? And it's hard to find that right now where we're at in COVID times. So for us, and I'm sure Denise would love to talk about this at some point. She's a avid visitor of our night markets.
She is. Okay.
And I think maybe we should. That'd be cool to talk about night market
100%.
because it's a cool thing that
This is great.
since COVID,
Incredible.
Since COVID, a lot of us have lost our jobs. We are kind of all trying to figure out what is the next plan, what to do, what can we do, and
just clawing and scratching.
yeah,
Doing
man,
different
clawing
things. So
and
super
scratching
cool.
is what we've been doing, and a lot of us are local makers from Denver. We all kind of created this little night market that, Ben, you got to come by to one, brother.
Love to.
It's pretty crazy. It's just fun, and we try to do very
all you need
safe.
to just keep feeding him.
Yeah.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
That's what he wants.
You know,
Yeah,
and
there's
it's
fact.
just cool. We do something that's social distant. We make it accessible for everybody. We kind of take over different spots. Fort Greene, Infinite Monkey Theorem, but it's every other weekend now, or every week, where you could look up night market, and it's local makers from all of Denver. That
So where am I finding this online? Nightmarket.com?
Night Market Denver. So you can
Night
look
Market
up
Denver.
so Night Market actually with no vowels. I think it's NTMRK.
Okay.
Market or
Good
something like that.
clarification.
Whatever.
Yeah.
One of those. Night Market. And it's just all of us that are just trying to get together and build a community of people that are looking to be appreciated.
Right.
Because we talk about entrepreneurs and you being the food guy, being appreciated, your staff. Some of us haven't after COVID, so we wanted to figure out a way to do it. Luckily for me, I got on a group with great people. Sell kimchi, we do teas, we do chimichurri, whatever.
Yeah.
And for me, this
Sounds
is where
experiential.
yeah, man.
Like
this
really
is where
cool.
I love doing my samosa shop pop-ups, and I love being able to provide it for the community there, because it's a good place for everyone to come try out.
Killer. Well, awesome.
Sweet.
Ben, what do you think?
Ben,
What's your review?
What's the review?
I mean, this is incredible. I really loved the vegan samosa because it was light, it was fresh, but it had a ton of flavors going on. You had with the spice, you had still the figs, the raisins, the dates, whatever was in there. But this surprised me, man. This is good stuff. I'll be
awesome.
back.
I look forward to talking more about it when we get back. We have Denise Mickelson coming on the show. We're going to stay here with Chef David Hadley and Ben Higgins. We're going to head to break now, and looking forward to this next segment.
Hey. What's going on, everybody? This is Brother Luck from Lucky Dumpling, 4 by Brother Luck in Colorado Springs, and I am rocking with the Modern Eater. You're watching them, you're tasting them, you're knowing everything there is to know about Colorado.
Hi, Charlie from Brews Beers here. Our new Belgian Abbey 4-pack is a mixed package of the 4 core beers made in Abbey and Trappist breweries in Belgium. So we have a single, a double, a triple, and a quadruple in one package. Now, quadruples are the emperors of Belgian monastery ales. They're dark in color, with a dense tan head, and alcohol ranging from 8 to 12%, so they're pretty strong. Quadruples are very rich and complex with big maltiness, spice, and flavors of raisins, cherries, and plums. Alcohol is apparent in the mouthfeel, but not overwhelming, even at 10.5% ABV. So the finish is long, complex, and dry, and they're great beers anytime, by themselves or with hearty foods. Pick up your Abbey 4-pack at either Brews location, 67th and Pecos, or at Colfax in York, and at fine liquor stores throughout the Denver metro area. Take home some Belgian-style badassery today.
You're watching The Modern Eater, and now back to the show.
Oh,
Back to the show in just a second, you guys. But before we do that, it is Jeff Rourke and A+ Beverage Solutions time. If you're somebody who's in the business, you have a restaurant, you want to put your tap lines in, there's nobody better than Jeff Rourke and A+ Beverage Solutions. 720-272-3809. That's who you call. Just call Jeff. He's got over 20 years in the business. He's got companies that fly him all over the country to install, quiet please, to install tap lines for restaurants, bars, whether it's water, it's coffee, it's wine, it's obviously beer. Nitro is something that's hanging around. This is your guy, Jeff Rourke at A+ Beverage Solutions, man. He's a family man, over 20 years in the business. Just call Jeff. It's 720-272-3809. I'll say it one more time so you can get a pen or get your phone and get to typing it in there. It's 720-272-3809. It's Jeff Rourke and A+ Beverage Solutions. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Studio Kitchen, Colorado, home of the Modern Eater. Juan Padró in for Greg Hollenbeck with my co-host Ben Higgins. Chef David Hadley. We're soon to be joined by Denise Mickelson, editor of 5280 Magazine. And we have another really cool thing happening a little bit later. We have the folks from Culinary Quick Start Program, Blake Stine and Marcus Eng, coming in to cook us some pho, which is also pretty exciting. Denise, how are you?
Hey, Denise.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
I hope I'm not late.
You're not
You're not
late.
late.
You're actually, your timing is absolutely perfect.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have you on. I want to, you cover food all over the state of Colorado. This has been a crazy last 12 months for the food industry. What can you tell us? What are some of the things that you saw out there that were inspirational that you want to bring to people's attention?
Oh, my God. I was getting ready to talk to you guys. I was looking back, and I scrolled through everything we've written about online, and I swear I feel a little traumatized. You know more than I as a restaurant owner. Man, this year has been intense. But there's been a lot of silver linings, and everyone in Colorado, they collaborate and they pull together, and everybody is there to support each other. I don't see it happening like this in any other city. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
And you and I, when we talked about it, this the other day, that you coming on the show, we talked about the fact that there's a whole ecosystem as well. It's not just restaurants, and restaurants, rightfully so, are getting talked about the most because they're getting hit hard. But there are other people getting hit hard. There's this whole ecosystem. There's bakers, and there's artisans, and there's just all kinds of stuff.
Brewers and distillers, and then how it trickles out, and it the ripple effect, and it spreads to people that provide the linens for restaurants, and there's so many millions of workers in this country that are intricately tied to the restaurant industry. Everybody is still struggling and working to get there. But there's some really inspiring things happening. You were telling me one of the main conversations that you've been having this week on the show is about philanthropy, and even outside of restaurants. Do you know about the Denver Community Fridges?
No, tell me about that
campaign that's happening right now.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, tell the audience a little bit about
cool.
that. I did see this. It's very cool.
It's so cool. A very amazing human whose name, I wrote it down, Eli Zane, moved here a few years ago, I think even like less than 2 years ago, and was seeing our unhoused population, right? We know that you drive around Denver and you see there are many unhoused people, now more than ever. Plus there are all these, hospitality workers that are out of work and might be struggling to feed themselves. So where our food banks are being crushed right now and expecting to do more and more and more, there's these small little grassroots endeavors. So Eli got together with other volunteers. It's all volunteer-led, and they are working with local artists, and they're creating these amazing community refrigerators. There's a handful of them up. There's one, Mutiny Information Cafe on South Broadway, Base Coat Nail Salon in Five Points, Huckleberry Roasters in Sunnyside, and Amethyst Coffee Co. in Berkeley all have these beautifully painted refrigerators outside of them that are open 24/7, volunteer managed and filled. And you can go and you can help stock. You follow it on Instagram, and you go put in, you decide, I'm going to donate a bag of produce or, some juice boxes or anything you want.
So this isn't just restaurants donating this stuff. It's actually just members of the community, generally speaking.
It's actually regular, normal people. And in fact, one of the interesting things, obviously restaurant people are watching this show, what they're hoping for is more actual restaurant folk and people with licensed commercial kitchens to make prepared meals and put them in the fridges. Because myself, the rules say that I cannot make a lasagna and go package it up and put it in the fridge. I don't have a commercial kitchen. So I can go and donate canned goods and perishable items and non-perishable items, but they're looking for more people with commercial kitchens to donate actual prepared meals. Penelope Wong of
Yes.
One
Yep,
Food
very
Truck.
well.
She has been cooking and filling fridges, so it's just a really wonderful grassroots thing, so that no matter what, 24/7, all access, anyone who's hungry can go and get something to eat for free.
That's incredible, Ben. I know philanthropy is center to who you are.
It's interesting because right when the pandemic hit, I was talking to you, and right away one of the first responses was, "How can we help?" And I think this is a really hard question to ask, but you two are both all of you are very ingrained in this community. Why? What is it about Denver that's the first response? Because right away you were sharing story after story with me.
Yeah. What do you think, Denise?
I think it's unbelievable. It's so Denver, right? Everybody steps in and helps out. I mean, the Skokins, Eric and Jill Skokin out in Boulder, the fires were threatening their home after they suffered a terrible, tragic accident and, lost their son this past year. And the community got together and literally saved their farm from the fires. I mean, it's just story after story, from GoFundMe's to, just the community banding together. Think about feeding the frontline. There were so many stories over the last year of restaurant people getting together to help, those that were hungry or in need, and then just regular community members. Yeah. I think it's very Colorado. We're so lucky.
I think we're going to have to put some samosa or some of this beef in some of these
refrigerators.
refrigerators.
It's crazy, Denise. We are actually, for night market, we're going to be doing a nice box setting up for the community fridges. Yeah, we are, which is kind of cool. But also, I mean, I want to do quarts of curry, like warm curry, especially for people. Like, well, obviously it's going to be cold, but some samosas, something. And it's crazy to see. I live close to the 5 Points one at the Base Coat Nail Salon. And to see how many people,
so they're actually getting used.
Oh man, it's getting used, and you could and like Denise saying, go on the Instagram, and they'll show pictures of empty fridges of what they need help with, right?
Got it.
So for me, someone that has access to Restaurant Depot, I'm gonna go buy a case of apples, right? A $30 case of apples for that's the donation, and apples are healthy, and why not give some people good, depending on people that need it, they need something that's good.
Denise, where do you find information on these community refrigerators?
On that and just everything going on in town, I find Instagram the most helpful.
Okay.
I think Twitter is interesting for news and kind of national commentary and that, but I find Instagram an amazing source of information about what is going on around town. I need to be on it more.
Yeah, 100%. What are you looking most forward to in 2021? There's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel here. Are you seeing it? I feel like it. And I know we're going to go through, to me, 2022, I think we start to get back to, whatever the new normal is, but so I think we have a ways to go. But Colorado, we're blessed with really good weather. We have outdoor seating, so we'll get through this, right? What are some of the things you're most excited about?
I mean, I hope that the state decides to keep all the to-go liquor rules, just the way they are right now. I think patios are going to start to open up again. Our capacity is getting more and more. It's getting looser, right? The capacity restrictions are getting looser. So I feel like as the year goes on, a number of people I've been talking to lately are just saying, if you can just hold on for like 4 more months, maybe 6, things are going to slowly start to open up. What I am seeing is a lot of chain activity, which is not my favorite type of activity, large national chains. But I will say there's some exciting things happening even with that, where our local chains are getting a little national love. Like Ivan Ramen is coming to Blue Sushi Sakeko. I mean,
that's
cool.
Wow.
Sake Grill. And so I was talking to him earlier today. So Denver's going to be able to have Ivan Ramen delivered to your door. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
so
super cool.
That's a nice thing. But we've also got all these small producers, right? We've got Dave making his amazing food.
Have you had this hot sauce?
Yes, I have.
He told us it wasn't spicy. I still haven't recovered.
I just finished a bottle of water. Can I piggyback off that question real quick?
Go ahead.
I've been out here 8 years now in Denver, and since I've been here, the food and cuisine, like the hospitality scene, has just continued to go like this. Like, and then COVID hit, and then, the whole world took a step back. And if you look at the future from now, what does Denver's food scene, Colorado's food scene look like now as we move beyond this? Like you said, the outdoor patios, like the response to COVID's great, but like in 5 years from now, do you think we get back to kind of flourishing as a city?
I think so. I mean, I'm not a fortune teller, but I think it's going to be a combination, right? We had almost too many restaurants, right? Before the pandemic, we knew there was going to be a bubble burst at some point. It has burst in a really hard, sudden, painful way that I wish had not taken place. But I feel like what we're going to have is this mix of, yes, national chains are going to come in and fill in some of the vacuum, but then we're slowly going to have some of these smaller endeavors that really give a dining scene its soul and its unique flavor. They're going to come up. I mean, we have got so many amazing small artisans like Dave, like what I'm obsessed with right now? Not Your Mama's Cupcakes. Have you guys heard of her? Oh my God. I'm not even a cake.
I can't eat too many of those, Denise. I
They
cannot
are,
eat too many.
I can eat way too many.
Are there any
husband had
salad
his birthday
concepts
and
that
she
you can
made
tell
us
me
a-
about? Because I need a salad after this week of hosting the Modern Eater.
I mean, I hope she gets a brick and mortar. Like they're
Yeah.
just, and also the fact that you don't need a brick and mortar anymore. So I feel like the ghost kitchen concept and all these people, making things out of their home, the Colorado Cottage Food Act is huge. And it was big before. There were lots and lots of, hundreds of producers cooking in their home kitchens and selling on their own. But that's not stopping anytime soon. And then delivery, you can get anything in the world delivered. Everybody's opening delivery only concepts. So now New York has that little flavor, or Denver has the flavor of New York, where I moved from. You can get anything delivered there. Well, now you can get anything delivered here. I mean, really.
I think I would like to see, and it's a personal goal of mine, more incubation of young entrepreneur talent. I think Aurora's got a ton of cool food. I'd like to see that come to Denver. As you know, I love Mango House and I love Siri at Urban Burma, and I would love to see him get a brick and mortar. 100%. So I'm hopeful that as the industry starts to recover, that restaurateurs and that we can work with banks and we can work with realtors and developers, and we have just a common goal. To diversify the food scene, I think.
Well, and I think the business improvement districts, working with the city and working with the state, like everybody needs to work together to make sure that happens. Yeah. Because, new entrepreneurs can't do it all on their own.
That's right. Well, one thing we've learned through COVID, right? I mean, just access to capital for people. I mean, they don't have it. A lot of people don't have it. They can't even go to a bank and get a loan. Dan Norberg, who ran the SBA for the region, for the last 4 years, called me the other day. He's taking over as a regional president of a bank here in Colorado, and he's like, "What does the industry need?" And I said, "They need access to good capital. You can't have a 5-year loan. That's cumbersome for somebody like you. You're going to open up your store, and you're not going to be able to afford it. Exactly. So we need loan programs that are geared towards hospitality. I think that's extremely important.
Mentorship too, Juan. We need people like you who will help people like Dave. Like, you can tell me I have access to a loan, but what kind of loan and what are the right parameters of the loan, and like what I wouldn't even know where to begin, and many feel that way. So.
Is that something you think comes from the city, or is that or is that something that comes from entrepreneurs that are doing it right now, mentoring other entrepreneurs?
I think a little bit of both is happening, right? I mean, you know probably better than I what the city and the state can do, and I think they need to do even more. But I do know, like Ellen Danick of Helly Mae's Caramels, she has this wonderful caramel business and, packaged goods, and she is now starting a consultation business where she wants to help other, entrepreneurs who are just starting in that line and share her expertise. So I feel like there's a bunch of pivots happening there too. Where locals are going to help other locals. Yeah.
On finding someone to look up to, or an entrepreneur, or someone to find that, back when maybe I just started in 2013, 2014, Dolores, who now went to working class, Banty Rooster in New York, came back trying to figure her stuff out now with her husband. She was a huge influence for myself back when I was younger, because I didn't know who else to talk to about entrepreneurship and trying to find the right moves to make as a young chef who might have something but not knowing where to go. And it's it's something to go back and say, if you can't find one, reach out to people that are looking for that.
So I come from a business background, but you're a chef. Like, what are the things that really you worry about?
I mean, as a chef, I think about my money, how I make my money, how I live, right? How I live. Most restaurants aren't paying really well, but now since COVID, it's changed, right? There's been a change in the restaurant industry. I think about my brand. I think about where that's going to go. Something I've put so much time and idea and effort towards. How do I move it forward? Where do I see it just not on this little table in a little market with myself?
Brand is super important. My brother works for the Aspen Institute, Denise, and he runs the Business and Society program over there. He's maybe the number 2 person in it, whatever. But he was telling me that the data that came out of Wall Street was saying that 83% of the value of a company is brand.
Wow.
83%.
83%. That's how Wall Street looks at your brand. And we're watching all this stuff happen in the stock market right now. I believe it. You know, all these things that don't have any profit that are trading at super high
The
numbers.
vapor. Yeah, a lot of those are just, it's true though. I mean, and you keep doing this, man, your brand's going to be just fine.
I appreciate
This is
that,
some
Ben.
delicious
I
stuff.
appreciate that, Ben.
Have you had this beef dish that he does?
I haven't. Mm-mm.
No, she will get to have some at the Brass Tacks pop up. She has had my
committed?
dose. I do some like dosa pancakes, just
Oh,
some
those
little
are-
things, just food that represents me but connected to Americana.
Right.
And I think you know who Nam Kim, Sindhu, who now was a chef at Spuntino, she's now doing like fine dining South Indian food at the same time doing her pastas, which I think is amazing.
She's
But
ghost
it's
kitchening herself.
yeah, and it's finding that balance of like how do we connect that in Denver?
Yeah.
And I think for me, luckily, I've worked with Beej. I've been building this, and now I think I have something to bring to the table,
Yeah.
and I hope that we could bring it to the community.
Well, keep following that woman from Spuntino because that place is great.
yes,
Pandora is one of the most talented chefs in all of Colorado.
Yep.
I think she is amazing, as is Austin, her chef de cuisine. They're incredible.
That's amazing. And I think they've done a pretty good job during COVID as well. I always see it busy, and it's hard to get a resi there.
I don't think that they have they haven't closed except for like they had some weather
Right.
tent issues. Their staff has remained employed,
Yep.
benefits, all that. I mean, now they're doing
Amazing.
delivery. You know, they told me not long ago they feel like they've opened a new restaurant every 2 weeks. You know, everyone
I think we
does,
all
right?
feel that way for sure with all the different moving and shaking that we're doing.
Well, and I think also an important thing for 2021, 22, beyond is this taking care of our hospitality industry in a way it hasn't been taken care of. Mental
Right.
health, the exhaustion factor right now,
Huge
and
factor.
what everybody needs. So Chow, started by John Hinman and Alex Palmerton, is we actually just got some national love, for the first time in a long time, on the Eater newsletter that comes out on Sundays. They mentioned Chow as one of several, mental health advocacy
We
groups. around
do.
the country.
We launched that at our company with a Chesed Wellness. It's Khesed, and they're great. And our kids get up to 12 free sessions.
It's really important
great.
because
We're
who
the-
has money for that?
really good.
you
The
know?
resources for that, because on any meeting we have, you give updates on that.
Right.
Where can people find the access to those kind of programs?
Yep.
Where's Chow? Where are they going to find Chow?
Oh, what is it? Great question. I think it's chow.org, but hold on. I'll look it
Okay.
up while
And
we're
Chesed
talking.
Wellness, Khesed Wellness.
It's a big deal. Right?
Yep, Heather Lundy. She's great,
They're
great
amazing.
person.
Let's-
And they actually specialize in hospitality. They have a bunch of
It's-
ex-hospitality workers.
And you know what it is? It's Chowco. So CHOWCO.org.
Okay.
And they have meetings that anyone is welcome to, completely anonymous, meetings, and no media is allowed, nothing like that. I've never been to one. It's all very private and important.
It's
you know?
one-on-one or it's group?
I think, no, they're group meetings.
Okay.
But then they have access, to lots of different services, and
Got it.
and they can help connect you with places that are willing to either, I think, reduce their prices or pro bono work. that
Got
kind
it.
of thing.
So what's 5280 up to for the next year? You guys have some exciting things that you're
Hanging
gonna
on
that you're gonna
tight.
cover. I mean, we've got to have events have to somewhat come back. Weddings at least will come back, things like that. But are you guys getting excited to get out of Denver a little bit and into these mountain towns and see what's going on, or what's going on?
I hope so. I hope so. My mother-in-law has been on my mind over the last year because she's very compromised, but she now has had her second shot, so I feel like my life's about to open up a little bit.
All right.
Which is great. And you know what? We just went skiing for my husband's birthday, Copper, this past weekend.
How was
the
that?
Snow was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I went to Rootstock in Breck because Matt Vauder, who left Mercantile
Right.
and Fruition and went up there to open his own place. I mean, that's the kind of place that gives real soul to a dining scene. It's beautiful. It's a small menu. It is thoughtful. It's great. And it's really cool. It's in an old house and the kitchen's downstairs. So you go downstairs and there's the open line, but it's on the basement level, which is not
Really?
something you see every day. But the food was fantastic.
What type of cuisine is that?
Oh, he has a whole lineup of pastas. It's
Okay.
it's mercantile-ish.
Yeah.
Because Matt Vauder was mercantile along with Alex Seidel for
Right.
years. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah, it's
really
good
nice.
to see him up there flourishing. That's great.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in the mountains right now. My favorite's Craftsman. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't been yet.
Really?
I have a lot
Where's
of
that?
travel.
Crafts. It's in Edwards. It's off, I think, exit 163. I think. Well, I'm for nostalgia reasons. Katz's Deli is my favorite sandwich. That you know, but for me, Craftsman is the best sandwich shop I've ever eaten in.
Wow.
Ever.
I gotta go.
Well,
up
and they're
there and
supposed
try.
to come to Denver, so that's exciting.
I think they're trying. So
Yeah.
yeah, and he's got Bird Craft, which is at Outer Range Brewing. It's his Asian fried chicken concept.
sounds
so
dope.
Chris Schmidt, he's a great guy. Well, it's incredible. So Denise, why don't we leave it with this? Why don't you give one piece of advice to, or maybe not even a piece of advice, one thing that words of encouragement, one words of encouragement to folks listening in the industry, coming from somebody that covers it.
That I can do. No advice, but encouragement. I have just seen more heart and soul from this industry in the last year. I mean, I get a little teared up. I think everyone working or laid off in hospitality in Colorado, they're just such good people. Everybody is working so hard. I know that not every dining experience right now is going to be spectacular. It's not going to be what it used to be. But if I could say anything to the industry people, I would say keep going, just keep going. And to regular readers, to 5280's readers, keep getting takeout, keep going out, dining in whatever way you feel comfortable, because even if every experience is not an A+, that doesn't mean that we don't want our local restaurants, especially the independent ones like all of yours, here on the other side of this. The only way to do that is to support. So I just say dig deep and keep supporting on all sides.
Well, I've been a reader of a subscriber and reader for 8 years to 5280. It's not stopping anytime soon. It's been awesome since I moved out here. So
Appreciate
And now, actually, you're a restaurateur, sort of.
yeah,
Yeah, you're a restaurateur.
That's right.
you know?
I'm in it now.
You're in it.
I'm in it.
So,
in it.
Well,
Yep.
thank you.
all right. So, Dave, the food, incredible. Denise,
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
words
Denise.
of encouragement. We're
Thanks for
pretty
having me.
excited to have you. And Ben, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about, I think you just wrote a book, man.
I did.
I need,
did. Let's
I
talk
need a
about
copy
it.
of that book.
Hey,
I need
I have
to
to.
know
Your
what's
sister?
about that book.
Yeah.
No, hey, maybe.
Well, we're going to talk with Ben Higgins about his new book. We're going to talk about his experience being a restaurateur now, and then we're going to have the Culinary Quick Start Program come in, Blake Stine and Marcus Ang, and they're going to cook some chicken pho,
More food. Let's
which
do it.
is pretty exciting. All I want to do is eat the day after the Super Bowl.
Oh, it feels so
That's
good.
it. We need it.
Soak it all up.
All right, we're going to go off the break. Denise Mickelson, thank you so much. 5280
having me.
Magazine, and we'll be right back from the Modern Eater.
Hey guys, Alex Armitage over at Sam's number 3 Glendale. You want a Bloody Mary? You want a cheeseburger? You want a breakfast burrito, Greek salad, bacon gyro meat, chicken souvlaki, barbecue ranch salad? We got you covered. Come down and see us. One more time. Try it again. Hey guys, Alex Armitage over here at Sam's number 3 Glendale. Now get your ass to themoderneater.com. Thank you so much.
We started Meridium Spirits because we love the way that spirits and cocktails can bring people together to socialize, to bond, to have conversations. Well, right now we've got some big conversations to have. Coop Vodka and Coop Gin are available at liquor stores across the metro area, but if you can't find us or would like to have us behind your bar or at your restaurant, send us an email, info@meridiumspirits.com. We know things are a little different these days, but think of us the next time you're planning a virtual happy hour or a socially distant picnic. And keep an eye on our social media, Coop by Meridium, for all the latest and greatest.
Hey guys, it's Caroline Glover. I'm the chef owner of Annette out at Stanley Marketplace. Citrus, is about to be in its prime. I just want to thank everybody for showing so much support to small local restaurants in this really hard time. And you're watching the Modern Eater Show. I'm fine with that.
Hollenbeck.
I had a problem with the microphones. Just do that little intro again, man. We're live, you know.
We're
but
live. We're going to do it again. Welcome back
That's a
to
live
Studio
show.
Kitchen, Colorado, home of the Modern Eater. Juan Padró sitting in for Greg Hollenbeck with my good friend and business partner, Ben Higgins.
What's up, buddy?
Man, let's talk because we're business partners, but I don't really see you that much anymore because you're writing books.
Yeah.
Tell
I've
us
been
about
gone.
this.
COVID's been weird. It's been I've been locked up and away. Yeah. So I just actually a week ago I launched my book. It was a 2-year project. It started as a journal, and then Thomas Nelson came and said, "Would you ever want to write a book?" And I said, "I don't know what I'd write about." And I told him about this journal that I've had, and it really hit me when I was kind of at my low point. So I was The Bachelor, got off The Bachelor. Within, I mean, it's wild when you're on that show. You go from 0 to 100, so everybody talks about you, knows you, and that ends, and you're left confused without an identity.
Yeah.
And they've moved on to their next person. They've moved on to their next thing, and you're kind of lost. And I started writing these feelings of being like, this whole fame thing's not fulfilling. What is this chapter of my life even meant? You know, now I have a title of The Bachelor tied to my name, and like that is not even a part of my life anymore.
Right.
So I started writing this stuff down. And long story short, as I wrote it down, I realized what I was really feeling was disconnected, isolated, alone, like misunderstood, just kind of feeling like I didn't know myself, and as a result, I didn't know others. And the more I talked about this concept, the more I talked about it with my counselors, the more I talked about it with my friends, I realized that a lot of people in their life at some point or another have felt isolated, alone. I mean, geez, and think about right now. Like most people have
How
felt
appropriate, right?
all appropriate. And so that's what the book turned into.
Right.
It's a book. It's a response to people who felt alone, to hopefully tell them they aren't, that they're cared for, they're loved, and give them some tangible proof of human stories that have felt alone or it seemed like they were alone, yet in the end it kind of comes back around to where they never were. So, yeah.
That's exciting. So where can we find it?
It's Alone in Plain Sight. You can just Google it. Amazon's a great thing. I did the audiobook myself, which was wild, but it might have been, it took me 4 days to read the book.
Got it.
Writing the book was really hard. Doing the audiobook was like, in the short period of time, just as hard. Reading without messing up. So I encourage everybody to go listen to it.
You're a pretty good speaker, though. You don't mess up very often.
But it's been a really cool experience, man. And it ended up being timely, which was not expected that this would be a timely event. This was just something that came from my heart, and man, it's a big deal to me.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I'm super excited to read it or
buddy.
listen to it. We'll see
Yeah,
which one I
which
do.
one?
I'll probably listen to it because I'm driving in my car all the time.
Well, actually, I'll say this. Next Friday, well, no, the 19th. That's not next Friday. The 19th, I'm going to be doing a book signing at Brewability
cool.
down on South Broadway.
place.
Yeah, so, stop in, come grab a book, come hang out.
Awesome. I'll be down for that.
Cool.
No doubt. So let's talk about being business partners, man. We're in the restaurant industry. This has been a crazy year. I do investor updates, so I get on the phone and, you call me up. What's going on? How are you feeling about the restaurant scene right now?
I want to give a little backstory first. So I moved out to Denver. Highland Tap and Burger was my spot, right? I knew nobody when I moved to Denver. I had no friends out here. And Highland Tap and Burger was the place that I went to sit at the bar, to have my dinner, to have a drink, and just good people showed up. So you'd meet great people in town.
It's the clubhouse.
It's the clubhouse.
That's
it's
what we
great.
call it. Yeah.
And I met you through that. And then I went on the show, came off the show. My life had changed a bit, and I was telling you the story about why I wanted to get into restaurants, and this will all tie together in a second. But the reason was because I grew up in a small town, and there was one restaurant that was my grandma's favorite restaurant to go to on celebrations. It was called Stacy's, and it's like literally this. It was in a modular home, like a double wide. But you walk in, and it has like the old Christmas lights, and this is back in like the 90s when you could smoke inside. It has that unique feel and vibe to it,
Smell.
Yeah, the smell. And there was the owner of the restaurant, Stacy, would sit in the corner booth. He'd have a bottle of wine, he'd have a cigar, and he'd have his accounting books out in front of him.
Stacy's a he.
Yeah, Stacy's a he. And his friends would come and sit with him and have dinner, and then they'd leave, and new would come, and people would just want to go talk to him. And I was like, I want that to be me. I want to be in a place that people want to come hang out. That was always a dream. Never knew I could make it happen. Well, I met you. And I knew, then that's who you are in town. Like people wanted to come hang out with you. You knew everybody. You were involved in their lives. They would sit down and have a drink with you and leave and know, there's just something special about that. And then one day you said, hey, I have this unique idea. And you've said that you want to be a part of a place that people would want to come to. And I said, I'm in. So that's when AshKara started. Now we've gotten to Mr. Oso. And how I feel about it now is this, it's a little bit weird because Mr. Oso never really got to get its feel.
I know.
Like we were just there, COVID hits, it shuts it down.
Right.
But already you were feeling that kind of vibe, that kind of place where people could come, take a deep breath, great food, great drink, and be around people, be around great people celebrating something or just hanging out and having dinner together. AshKara, has some of those unique, food I've ever had. It's special. It's a place I would bring my family to every time when they come to visit. And I think we're going to get back to that because that's how those places are built. They're built with the vibe and with the people in mind.
I think definitely people are super excited to get out. We just went to 50% capacity on Saturday. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
No.
That went from 25 to 50%, was announced quickly, just in time for the Super Bowl, which I was surprised by,
yeah,
frankly.
That's interesting.
But, Colorado's doing well, as well as it can. I think Governor Polis has done a really good job managing this, and it's been challenging for everybody. But the energy this weekend out in Denver was so much different, and people they're doing a good job. They're taking their precautions. They're still wearing their masks. Distancing is still a thing. That's what they're asking us to do. So you're going through all that, but just being around people. And the Super Bowl to me this year was symbolic, for a different reason. It wasn't about football. It was about bringing people together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, and we were at Sloan's Tappenberger watching it, and a bunch of the Broncos were there, and it just felt like, oh, hey, we're starting to get back to, to what we used to be. And it was, it wasn't the most exciting game in the world. I was happy. My man Tom Brady continues to defy 40. I don't know how. I mean, I pull a muscle in my back just bending over sometimes. This guy's 43, running around,
I
running away from
out and pick up basketball a couple years ago in Denver.
Did.
Yeah, so
so you got it.
It was a 30 and up.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it was great.
The energy in the city is great, and I mean that's why I wanted to get involved in the restaurants.
Yeah.
Is I wanted to be a part of places that had good energy. I want to be a place, honestly, that you can make a memory at. I would love if one day somebody comes back in 20 years when they're in they're a kid right now and they've gone to Mr. Oso with their family and they had the best tacos they've ever had or whatever, and they talk about that. That would just be a special feeling.
Yeah. That nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it's great. And, the other thing is, at least for us philosophically, impacting communities is really important. And we use the restaurant as a platform for that. Philanthropy is really important to you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Honduras for a minute.
Yeah. It's no better time to talk about, Central America, especially specifically Honduras and right now. So I've done work down there. When I was in high school, I went to Honduras on a missions trip. And, I came from, like I said, a small little town. A very little need in that town. Went to Honduras and saw true poverty for the first time, and saw kids. The stories that you see on TV that are oftentimes over dramatized. You see it with your own eyes, like kids starving, kids without clean water, disease ripping through, no education, and it broke me. It wasn't because I'm a great person. It was literally it broke me. It confused me. It shifted everything I ever thought I knew. And so we started an organization in response that does sustainable change in Honduras. So we go into these communities and say, what do you need, what do you want, and what do you dream of? And you guide us there. So we don't tell them what they're going to get. We don't give them it. It's a partnership, and it's going really well. Well, unfortunately, 2 months ago, 2 hurricanes, Category 5, hit the same place within 4 days of each other.
That's incredible.
So you're wiping out these communities that have just, maybe recently gotten a clean water tank. Maybe just recently started their own small businesses. Maybe they just recently had a home built. But, and this will bring, I think, everything to home, is one of our communities, we just put in electricity. And they had gone out. It was a month before the hurricanes hit, and they had bought refrigerators. This is a big deal to them, so they could have food. And they did it on loan because a lot of them can't afford it. And there's no insurance that covers that stuff, right? And so the hurricanes came through and wiped out the refrigerators in 31 of the homes, which we have 32 homes. Ruined them, washed them down the river. So there's a lot of need right now. And the difference between there and here is there's not really a great response by any kind of government aid. And so it's people going down and helping out where they can. But yeah, that's so
Well, tell people what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing.
Well, right now, the Global Empowerment Mission, which you helped set us up with, and Humane and Hope United, which is the organization that was started. I think as of last week, there was 1 million pounds of aid that was donated
Incredible.
to Honduras. And so Global Empowerment Mission is rounding up. These are your friends out of Miami. They helped you out with Puerto Rico. They're rounding up all this aid, and then they're flying it into Honduras. At that point, Humane and Hope United is picking it up and distributing it across Honduras. I mean,
it's a pretty incredible thing, right? Because you're actually dealing with government officials, and you're dealing with, like national government officials, local government officials. How the heck in a country that's basically underwater are you getting this stuff? And
it's wild. And the interesting part, and so these communities that we're working with, that we have for years, the ones that we in a sense adopted. We said we're going to be your partners. Now they're the ones running the distribution centers.
It's incredible.
So they've came into the city now, where they were their kind of safe haven was during the flooding of their communities, and they're staying in the cities now and running these distribution centers, giving it out to their neighbors, their friends. As of 2 months ago, so the hurricane hit. 2 months ago the hurricane hit. As of a month ago. There were still people that they were finding that had kind of like gotten stuck in their communities up in the mountains. They haven't been able to get access to clean water or food, so they've been eating whatever floats through. It's a scenario. So our response right now is something that we're not used to, which is disaster relief. And we hope to fairly soon get back into the sustainable change part, where it is fighting injustice facing humans and building, the clean water, the necessities that humans need to survive.
Generous coffee.
Yeah,
kind of born from that.
I wore this shirt today as a little highlight. So this, because of the sustainable change part of Humane and Hope United, nonprofits have one really big issue: is there's not really ever a good sustainable fundraising source. So if you're going to,
it's like when something happens, the money comes in and then it's gone.
Then it's gone. You have to restart over.
Right.
And so we recognized that a few years ago, and with the platform handed to me from The Bachelor, we were like, we have to do something with this. So we started Generous Coffee, which sells coffee and T-shirts, bags made by women from Guatemala, jewelry from the Dominican Republic. All of this stuff is handmade. It's sourced. We sell it. And then 100% of the profits are donated back to nonprofits and social causes fighting human injustice. And so the cool part about that is the owners, myself included, at the very beginning in our operating agreement, upon the sale of the company, also upon every piece of profit from each product sold, it's written in that all has to be donated. So that last year we did 30,000 that we donated back. I'm hoping to double that this year. You can find it online at generouscoffee.com.
Awesome, amazing, boys. What's going on over there? How are you doing, Chef Blake Stine, Chef Marcus Eng?
How are you?
How are you guys? Welcome. We're excited to have you, and we're excited to have some chicken pho. Yes.
We heard it was hangover day.
It is hangover day, the day after the Super Bowl. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back with Blake and Marcus, and Ben and I are going to continue to eat samosas and beef and roti and drink water, and then we're going to get some pho, and we're going to go home and probably take a big nap. So, yeah, this is Juan Padró. This is the Modern Eater. Let's get off the break.
Hi, I'm Amber with Strohauer Farms. And I'm just here to remind you that the best potatoes are grown here in Colorado. Goodness elevated. Thanks for watching the Modern Eater Show.
Hey, Zach Ryder here, Colorado Mills Sunflower Products out of Lamar, Colorado. Your only local source, grown from a local crop to produce a local oil for local chefs. You can find it at Shamrock Foods, What Chefs Want, Seattle Fish Company. Let me try it one more time, then we'll see. Hey, restaurants, we're glad you're reopening. From Colorado Mills Sunflower Oil, we'll see you soon.
First, we partner with the best farmers in the world, and then we tell them, we will take it all. Process whole spices daily, blend custom spices to order, keep it fresh, safe, and flavorful, all so that you can get back to doing what you do best. So whether you're a restaurant, a food manufacturer, or an at-home cook, be sure to visit The Spice Guy at www.thespiceguyco.com.
Hey Modern Eater fans, I'm Don Trobo with The Annex by Ardent Mills, and I just wanted to give you a heads up about some of the great things we've got going on locally in the state. We're headquartered right here, and we're working with farmers in the San Luis Valley to bring you amazing Colorado quinoa. It's just like the South American stuff, but grown locally. We've got transitional wheat flour that's grown by farmers in Colorado and surrounding states who are in the process of turning their fields into organic. So we're taking that transitional wheat and turning it into flour, and now it's available for you to cook and bake with. And last but not least, we're now cleaning grain berries in Denver. So things like spelt or wheat berries or pearled barley, those are things that we're now doing right here locally and are available to you. Can't wait to share it with you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Nations from Aspen Baking Company. It's really important right now to support local. That's why I support the Modern Eater. Now, back to the show.
I recorded one at the Clayton tomorrow.
Back to the show in just a second, but it's my favorite time, and it's time to talk bread, man. AspenBaking.com, that's where you go to find the most delicious bread in the city. They're making pho in the kitchen today for a little hangover dish. All I can think about is taking one of Aspen Baking's sourdough loaves, cutting it in half, cutting it in quarters. I like to bake it and crisp up the outside, and then just use that sourdough wedge as a dipping into any sauce, any soup, anything in the world like that. AspenBaking.com, that's where you find delicious bread. You don't find chemicals. You don't find artificial colors. They're not going to freeze it on you. Some of the bakeries freeze it on you. What you're going to find is you're going to find hardworking community business, AspenBaking.com, that just makes the most delicious bread. I mean, that's it. Pound cakes, lobster rolls, coffee cakes, they do the pastries too if you want to get your sweet tooth going. Also, chefs, pizza dough. If you need pizza dough, they'll make you pizza dough, delivered to you fresh, ready to go. It's AspenBaking.com. Now back to the show with the Culinary Quick Start guys. Ben Higgins from Almost Famous podcast. Juan Padró, you may know that dude. He's been doing a great job. So let's get back and look at some pho.
Welcome back to Studio Kitchen, Colorado, home of the Modern Eater. Juan Padró sitting in for Greg Hollenbeck with my buddy Jay Parker. Jay, thanks for that incredible Aspen Baking description. I'm like, sourdough actually sounds like amazing right now. So Aspen Baking Company, really good. With my co-host Ben Higgins, we've had a pretty cool show, man. I mean, we've had Chef Dave Hadley. He's going to be on Supermarket Stakeout airing tomorrow on the Food Network. So that's pretty excited. He cooked us up some food. We get to talk to Denise Mickelson, editor of 5280 Magazine. She's a pretty incredible woman covering the food scene. All the little, she's always got some tidbits that she's going to drop, some knowledge she's going to drop on you. So we found a cupcake spot that I think we're going to be checking out. So that was pretty cool. We got to learn about your book. So congratulations on that. And I'm just incredibly impressed that you're able to pull something like that off. That's really cool. Culinary Quick Start Program. Chef Blake Stine. Chef Marcus Hang. What's up?
What's up, guys?
How are you?
How's it
How
going?
you doing?
Good to see you.
What do we got?
We get the fixins for some pho.
So yeah, if you guys don't know what pho is, it's like it's a soup noodle dish from Vietnam, made by Chinese cooks back in the day, and they've also adopted a lot of some French style stock making techniques and stuff when they're making their broth. So you might be more familiar with the beef style pho. That's going to be most common towards the north in Hanoi, but the farther south you go to Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. The chicken pho is actually going to become more common as you go further south.
Why is that?
Chickens just thrive in a warmer environment, and cows really don't.
Yeah.
So where it's a little cooler in the north, you have more cows. Further south, it's going to be more chicken or seafood.
Cool.
It's also very inexpensive. When I was in Vietnam, I think about $2 a bowl.
Is that right?
$2 a bowl.
Fill you up for the day.
For the day. And it is a breakfast food.
Yep.
Tell me about
I like to treat it like an all-day food.
Yeah, it's like an all-day, yeah. I mean, the vendors are always available.
It's pretty popular here in Colorado. I mean, I see a lot of it, and I know I eat a ton of it.
I get it a couple times a month at least.
It's delicious.
It is.
Tell me about the noodle.
So the noodle is just going to be like a rice vermicelli here. And what we're going to do is we're really just going to soak these, and it's going to expand. This is a pretty fine one, so we'll see what this one looks like.
It's just
But yeah, this is just rice and water, extruded and dried out. So,
and we got all these beautiful herbs here. So we have cilantro,
Thai basil.
Thai basils. That's the what's called opal basil, right? Purple. Yeah.
This is gonna be like culantro.
Yeah. So I just want to make a comment about this, right? Because I'm Puerto Rican, and this is like the main herb in sofrito for Puerto Ricans. So culantro has been a part of my history for 47 years, and you don't see a lot of it in Colorado.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of it outside of the kind of Asian shopping
Mind if I open
centers.
this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and it's a really cool, and I want people to see it because it's very fragrant, and and it is the cilantro family. But you see how long that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then it's got like these kind of saw-like ridges along the leaf there too. But
yeah, really fragrant, beautiful, and you got some green onions.
Yep. We'll just toss that up.
Awesome.
Throw it all in there.
Well, great. Well, while you get cooking on that, and Blake.
Yes, sir.
We had one of your kids stage with us on Friday. Did well.
How'd it go? Eli, right?
No, he goes next week. So we actually ended up bringing 2 kids in.
Okay.
One must have just heard through the grapevine and showed up. That's why I thought.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So one kid did well, and I think Eli goes on Wednesday.
Outstanding.
So yeah, they did well.
Cool. Thank you very much.
That's really
man.
cool. They're getting some good training. Tell us about the program.
So we're doing 3 weeks virtual with the option of having 2 students in the classroom with us each night.
Okay. Does that change with the new restrictions?
I think that as soon as we can have more students in, we absolutely will.
Okay.
It just depends.
We just went to 50% in restaurants. I don't know if how that changes for a program like yours.
I sure don't know at this point, but I think it'd be really, really nice to have more students in because the hands-on experience is unlike any other. I think that you can learn a whole lot more from actually touching food and cooking it and the science behind all these things.
What's the program?
So it's Culinary Quick Start. We do 3 weeks of, a lot of intense exposure to food, things that you'd want a cook to know before they came into your restaurant, say, for the first time. It's maybe a lot of people that are coming back to restaurants from being a little bit displaced from COVID, or it's a lot of people who are changing careers, or people who just have an interest in cooking food professionally. So, yeah, we try to show them as much as we can within a 3-week period, and just kind of get them some great jobs right after that.
Yeah, and basic knife skills and things like that
as well,
as well,
we're
right?
real heavy on the knife skills, trying to get these guys real comfortable with the way that you're supposed to handle a knife inside of a kitchen, to be able to prep and cut things very accurately without injuring themselves.
Yeah. So I asked Carrie Baird from Top Chef and obviously Bardot. A lot of kids get intimidated. They don't want to go and oh my God, I could never work for Carrie Baird. Or I could never work for Dave. He's been on Food Network or whatever, right? And Carrie's like, she was just really outlining. Look, the passion is what's most important.
Yeah.
If you have basic skills and you have passion and know-how, do you guys echo that sentiment? I know you've worked in some great kitchens.
Yeah. Well, what I think is that we can't teach people to care.
Yeah.
And as long as you're passionate about taking care of other people, which is ultimately what we do as hospitality professionals, then the skills will come later.
Tell me about your background, because I don't really know a ton about. I know, were you at Acorn at one point?
Yep.
Okay.
I helped open up Acorn. I've been around a lot of different places the way back. Most recently, I was doing like my bento boxes at Kitsune. Tavernetta, did a stint there too. So
Great.
yeah, just kind of a journeyman. And then I've been teaching with Culinary Quick Start for about a year.
Close to a year and a half, maybe
Close
2
to a
years?
year and a half, but I've been volunteering with them for over 2.
That's amazing. What inspired you to get into volunteering in a program like this?
I think that just cooking it is one of the most fundamental skills that really separates us from the rest of the animals, really. Being able to transform food and to elevate it into an art form, I think, is something that people need to learn, and it's really a very easy way to give to other people is by just cooking for them, taking care of them. So, and also just like a very important survival kind of thing too. Like people should just know how to cook. Your life's going to be way more enriched if you're around better food.
Okay. You're Vietnamese?
I'm Chinese.
You're Chinese. Yeah. Okay. Do you cook? So you did the bento boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So was that Chinese influenced?
I know I'm a Japanophile, but I cook a lot of Chinese dishes within that medium of the bento box.
Okay.
I do cook a fair amount of Chinese, but probably just more at home.
Got it.
Honestly, I probably cook more like Italian food than anything else.
Right.
Well,
Well,
that's just the way it shakes out
The
here in Denver.
Italians got some noodles from the Chinese way back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. I love just cooking everything.
Yeah.
Though. You know, if I'd love to learn how to cook some Indian food.
Yeah.
So
I know a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's one of the cuisines I personally know the least about. I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. I grew up in the Northeast,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of Italian restaurants, we have a lot of Greek restaurants, and we have a lot of Indian restaurants.
Sure.
And just all the travel back and forth. We have a lot of colleges and universities in Massachusetts,
Mhm.
so all the students that would come in and they, miss their cuisine from home and. Start opening up restaurants, and it was a pretty thriving scene there. So, and then Indian food actually not too dissimilar from Puerto Rican, rice and
Mhm.
beans, and they stew their meats and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
naturally, I gravitated towards that. And David and I were talking a little bit about the fact that with samosas you can kind of stuff them with different things,
Sure.
and this idea of like translational food. Like, okay, I don't know what a samosa is, but it's got sausage and peppers in it, and it's got
Yeah.
or bacon, egg, and cheese, or whatever in it. Do you think about food that way? Like, how do you you have somebody that's curious about Vietnamese food. Like, how
Yeah.
do you get them to try it?
That's a really good question. I think, just an open mind,
Mhm.
but some people have particular aversions to particular meats, particular parts of particular meats, you
Right.
know. So I think just education, that's it, is just understanding that, hey, you're eating all the things that essentially go into a hot dog. Well, wouldn't you just eat them all separately? Like,
Very
It's
true.
kind of the same. It's
Yeah.
all the same thing. It just
Yeah.
looks different. But I mean, like a samosa, you could, it's like a fried pierogi
Right.
almost. It's like there's kind of like analogs or just similar dishes that kind of show up in every culture, and whether or not that's anthropological. Yeah, it's all just different names for the same kind of food.
Did you go to Hanoi when you were?
Yes, I've been to Hanoi, yeah.
They say that's one of the best food cities in the entire world,
Mhm.
especially for street food and stuff
Street
like that.
food, yeah. I mean, Vietnam in general,
Yeah.
like incredible street food. I was lucky enough to go, Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City all the way up to Hanoi and then back down to Phu Quoc, which is an island where a lot of our fish sauces get made.
Okay.
So that was a great tour. And all the best food is super cheap and readily available on the street, like pretty much any time of the day. So
awesome.
It is really an eater's paradise, because you'll get off the bus and there'll be a crocodile just on a grill.
That sounds good. I'm in for that. A little more background on the pho. So you said when it originally started, it's a Chinese dish being cooked in Vietnam.
It's Chinese cooks that made the original dish.
Okay.
So there's a big subpopulation of Chinese people in Vietnam, just because they share a border.
Yeah.
And Hanoi is going to be closer to that border with China. So it's likely Chinese cooks trying to find a way to make a delicious, nutritious broth with little scraps that were left for them. So it is a stock just made out of mainly bone.
Okay.
And the tiny cuts of meat that are kind of left over. So I like tripe in mine. I like the meatballs, and then just tiny cuts of like other offcuts like tendon, stuff like that.
Yeah. Really cool. Blake, do you guys get into are these history lessons for your students as well? I mean, food is rooted in history.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we love to answer any questions that come our way, especially like food questions and the origins of things. But I think that food history is just an amazing, very vast concept that we can talk about, and I think it's really important to know where your food does come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I studied history in college. So.
Me too, history. So that's why.
It's fascinating to me. I just love kind of finding out where it comes from, and I think if you have that cultural understanding and the historical context of how this dish came to be, you just have a lot better understanding of like where it can go or where you want to take it and apply it to the product that we have like here in Colorado. So I think that's what we need to do like as Coloradans and like as a Denver community, is like really find our own voice and kind of accent what's like local here.
Right. I think that's super important too. I asked this. We had Adrian Miller, the great author, soul food scholar. He's got his new book Black Smoke coming out, and he was a guest last Wednesday on the show. And I asked him a question, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Marcus. What is the food that you cook? Tell us about, where you're from and your culture.
Well, I think it's fundamentally American, you know, and I think that's really the beauty of American food is that it is a literal melting pot of just cultures and experiences. And I mean, I'm a first-generation American myself, so everybody's experience is going to be absolutely different, and so I think it really is part of your identity as a chef, and being able to share that is really important as well. I don't know. Did I answer the question?
That's a great. No, it's great. Where are you from?
I was born in the Bay Area.
Okay. Cool.
And then I've lived half my life kind of abroad, and then here in Colorado.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Blake.
Sir.
Tell me what's going on over here.
So so this is like one of my favorite lessons that I like to teach about stock making and why the importance of utilizing waste product to turn into something that we can actually turn into dollar signs, right?
Right.
So we tell them whatever goes in your trash can has already been paid for. So you want to try and eliminate as much waste as you can by turning it into something else. So what I've done is created a really nice stock, right? And then I let it cook down. I added a whole bunch of really nice ingredients to it to make this chicken fault broth. I let it cook for about 12 hours. Reduced down massively, and now I think we got something really nice and flavorful to make you guys a really great dish today.
Yeah,
What'd you
season
it with?
You can really smell it. It's delicious. The onions.
I was peeking over his shoulder. There's something incredibly relaxing to me by watching a really good chef cut vegetables, especially on a day like today where my brain's working a little slow.
So
yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. That's the thing. I love all the fresh herbs and stuff like that that kind of go into pho.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, man, I ramp up my pho intake.
I mean, my fiance and I, like a night like tonight, probably. Honestly, a little tired, big day, cold outside. I guarantee you, if I said pho, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Like it's the best. It's
So yummy. Awesome. Did you guys watch the Super Bowl yesterday?
I missed it. I was traveling.
You missed the game. Yeah, it was. This was supposed to be our hangover special today, and this is going to be much needed. We're pretty excited about. About this. So.
Well, hopefully we can get you guys set straight.
Yeah. David, what do you think? You don't have a.
It looks great. I'm excited for some fun.
Yeah, amazing. This stock is like really intense.
Juan, how common is it to have a dish like pho, where it goes from the north to the south, like the whole country is covered with kind of one dish? How common is that?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, like if you go if you look at the cuisines that we cook in our places, like AshKara, for example, I mean that's just tribal food. I mean there were nomads that were going around the areas and. There's African influence and Palestinian influence and, Israeli influence and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, all these, and Marcus was just, kind of educating us a little bit on the fact that, the French had a really big influence in Vietnam. And so some French technique, and David was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
So all this stuff, I don't know if it's like north-south so much as it is just a mishmash of... through history, if you think about history, right? You think about this country came in and occupied another country and put some of their, So India had influence from England and now has influenced
this is super fun.
British food more than anything. You go to London's got like the best curry in the world. So yeah, so I think it's more like that.
Okay.
So and if you're in Italy, you don't necessarily have a ton of red saucy pastas in northern Italy, right? I mean, it's like more like a southern Italian thing, and they didn't really even, have tomatoes. If you look at a bolognese sauce, right, Marcus, carrots, right? For the most part, that's where it kind of gets.
Yeah, I think what people get wrong about bolognese is that it's not a tomato sauce; it's a meat sauce.
It's a meat sauce, right?
So, Yeah, that cultural understanding, I think, is like one of the most, I think, important things about understanding and appreciating cuisine, but also just the just how geography plays into it as well, and then cultural mores and understandings, and you can learn a lot about a culture just by what they eat and what they produce and how
I think
they
a ton,
live.
and it brings people together to have the conversation too.
It sure does.
That's the big thing.
That's the greatest thing.
You ever
about
go
it.
to Fuss Spot?
Me?
Yeah.
Fun 95.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, that's for me. The girl that I date occasionally, I should say, is Vietnamese. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Vietnamese and French. ironically.
There's this place called Pho King Rapidos.
Okay, where's that?
Pho King Rapidos.
Oh, that's my boy.
It's a new food truck that just opened up.
That's my boy Long.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
His name's Long. He used to work as the
Tavernetta.
As the manager at Tavernetta, but also used to work in New York City at a fine dining
Awesome.
Italian restaurant. He has a new concept called Pho King Rapidos. You can find it at night markets too.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Long.
All right. Let me see what we got here.
Yeah, so we just garnish it with all these fresh herbs here, the culantro, basil. I like a little mung bean sprout for texture. I can eat this stuff like popcorn. And then just some of the meat from that Blake picked from the chicken.
Super simple, but like, you smell all the herbs coming out of there.
Yeah.
Really
What kind of
rough.
spices did you put in there?
Yeah.
I toasted up a whole bunch of anise, a little bit of clove, tiny bit of fennel seed in there. Lots of onion, heavy on the onion.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, salt,
I mean,
pepper.
this is beautiful.
Yeah. It's incredible.
You know?
We got chopsticks?
Yeah, we got to get some utensils, some tools to get into this. That's pretty exciting stuff. So we're gonna break off here. You know, when we come back, we're gonna do where Juan eats. God, man, definitely the day after the Super Bowl.
It's a big day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where Juan eats, and we're gonna be going to Low-Hi, and we're gonna go to the Well.
Nobody's got
Talk to my buddy Dino. I love the Well. It's a New York style pizza and calzones, which you don't see a lot of calzones around, and that's something that I grew up with. So I'm pretty excited to expose everybody to that. When we come back, we're gonna eat a little bit of this pho. And then, I want to talk about, our show on Wednesday. We have the Clayton, which is a new property that's going to be in Cherry Creek, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Off the break.
Hey, you guys, Jay here with the Modern Eater Show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget about our YouTube and Instagram channels. A lot of killer content over there. Throw us a subscribe on YouTube. Throw us a follow on Instagram. And thank you for supporting TME. We couldn't do this without our amazing sponsors, so let's check them out right now.
Very proud to be part of the Modern Eater, and chefs, restaurant owners, any food service operators. I know right now that delivery and carry out is bigger than ever, and we got you covered. Cambro has a full line of delivery and carry out items. More economical options are expanded polypropylene or EPP, nice insulated container. The ProCard Ultra is really versatile. It's a great unit because you can actually store cold products down here, hot products up here. It's all 120. There's no refrigeration worries. It's all thermodynamics. Just let us know what your food service challenges are, what it is we can do to help you out, and there isn't anything that we can't do for you. So hope to see you over here at our facility in Park Hill soon, and stay safe out there.
Everybody, with several $1 million of hard assets here, insurance is very, very important to us. Ewing Levitt covers it all. Machinery, building, workman's comp. Ewing Levitt's got us covered from the floor to the ceiling, from our alley even to the street. This divider, this press, my cooling conveyor, my oven. Ow, ow. Ewing Levitt covers our counter stacker and our employees too. If you need insurance, take it from Little Rich at Rockalitas. Call Ewing Levitt, they'll get you covered.
I go home, I strip down to my skivvies. All right, here we go. I got it. Hey everybody, Steve Gould from Golden Moon Distillery and Golden Moon Speakeasy. When I get my cocktails to go from Golden Moon Speakeasy, I go home, I kick back, and I watch The Modern Eater. Skivvies. Hey, I'm a Marine. It's skivvies, man.
Welcome back to Studio Kitchen, Colorado, home of the Modern Eater. Juan Padró sitting in for Greg Hollenbeck with my guy Jay Parker, co-host Ben Higgins.
We didn't have chopsticks, by the way. I had to do this.
Eating his pho with his fork.
Yeah.
We had Chef David Hadley on today, a really good friend, and he's got an incredible samosa shop. Marcus Eng, Blake Stine from the Culinary Quick Start Program. And we had Denise Mickelson on, the editor of 5280, who's always a terrific guest and just, again, dropping knowledge on us. So we're gonna do the Clayton in Cherry Creek on Wednesday. So I'm super excited about that. That's a Soho House style property. That has 63 rooms. It's got a private members club, which is about 3,000 members. It's got 7 bars and restaurants in it, including a rooftop restaurant that opens up to a pool. It's got workout facilities, and it's really, I believe, is going to change not only Cherry Creek but Denver. And we got some cool stuff to talk about that. It's built on a foundation. And that was seeded by BMC Investments, and we talked about incubating young entrepreneurs and things like that. That'll be one of the missions of the club. So super excited for Wednesday's show at the Clayton, actually, not in studio. And I'm also excited for Where Juan Eats, the Well in Lohi. My man Dino, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Modern Eater for another episode of Where Juan Eats. I am at the Well in North Denver. Go to see my good friend Dino, and this is some of my favorite pizza in the city because it reminds me of home, and I'm obviously from the East Coast. Dino.
What up, boy?
What's happening, man?
How you doing, man? You good?
To see you.
Always good
Great.
seeing you.
I'm great.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
Of course.
Again, we are at the Well. This is a cool little pizzeria here on Wyandotte and 32nd, and this place really kind of like stirs up some emotion for me because where I grew up, as a teenager and after baseball games, after hockey games, you always went to your local pizzeria. And that's part of the culture that I miss from my home. This place kind of reminds me of that. It's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to getting a pizza and some calzone.
Yes, sir.
We don't see a lot of calzone out here. So
it's hard to find a good calzone in Denver, but we got some good ones here for sure.
Awesome. You going to make something for me?
Let's do something. Come on, let's go.
Give me your story, man. I don't know everything, about you. You're from Colorado.
Born and raised here in Denver.
Okay.
Wash Park area.
Okay.
Been in North Side for a long, long time. My mom's from Peru. My dad's Italian. I've been making pizzas since I was 14 years old.
So you're Peruvian and Italian.
Peruvian Italian,
I did
yes.
not know that.
Yes. So got the good mix, good foods
incredible.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just pretty much been making pizzas. Been doing it. My mom had a pizzeria when I was younger, so I've always worked in pizzerias with her when I was a kid. Ended up moving to Italy to work in the pizzerias out there for a while, and they came out here and have been opening up pizza shops ever since. So this is my third location here, but it's the only one I have right now, and cool little hole in the wall.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome local joint for sure, and I think some of the best I call it East Coast style pizza.
This is
What
it.
do you call it?
I call it East Coast style pizza. Yeah, people always say, what kind of pizza you got? I'm like, more New York style pizza. This is it right here.
Yeah,
so.
there's not a lot of places, that do that. You got all the Neapolitan. That's kind of the hot trend. Wood ovens, things like that, and that's all delicious. But
so
it's comforting to me.
Exactly. I got the deck
oven.
right here. It's stone. Cooks up to 550 degrees, and this oven right here, Blage obviously is 30 years old, so it has that flavor in there.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, we're gonna do a calzone right now. Put a little mozzarella.
So the calzone, what made you do calzones? Because I never see those out there. But when I was in college at UMass, I mean, every single day I feel like I might have either thought about or ate a calzone in college. It filled me up. It was
so like how I do, how I tell people, because people are like, what's a calzone?
Yeah.
Like I say, calzone more like a kind of like a folded over pizza. It has anything you want inside, and the thing about calzone is ricotta cheese.
Yeah,
you gotta have ricotta cheese in the calzone.
That's the big thing.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Because people are always like, oh, what's the stromboli? What's the difference between the stromboli and calzone? Calzone has ricotta cheese. Stromboli just has its regular mozz.
Awesome. So your ricotta cheese, right? And that's going to give it what? Just a level of creaminess?
Yeah, you get that creamy. So how cheese, you want to cut it open and it's nice and gooey and creamy inside.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of an experience eating a calzone.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So and it's super filling and it's not that expensive, which
No,
is
it's
why
not.
college kids love it so much on the East Coast.
And I tell people like, if you and your you're here with the couple and stuff, I always encourage people to order calzone because it's big enough to share.
Yeah, look at that thing. Stuffed to the gills.
Look at that, yeah.
So what's your dough? You make it in-house?
Everything's
made in house.
So yeah, so this dough, I think our crust is probably some of the best in Denver.
Yeah.
We take pride in our dough. We make it every day, so it's fresh every day. I let it rise for about 10 hours, and then I serve it, and then it's all about that. It's all about the flavor,
Yeah, for sure. Incredible. I want to know a little bit more about Italy. Tell me about that.
I was in Naples. So this is back in 2007. I just always wanted to go back to my heritage, like where my grandfather and my grandmother's from.
Yeah.
So I went out to Italy and met some cool people, and then I was doing Italian classes to speak Italian, and then this lady, I was like, my passion is pizza. Do you know somebody that wants to, kind of like have me be like an apprentice? So I met this guy Enzo, and he pretty much taught me a lot about the dough. The dough is like the key thing that where he taught me and stuff. So,
what were some of the things that stuck out the most to you in working with Enzo?
Just like the passion, like he believed in his product. Like what I did for the first month, I was making dough by hand, like how they did it back in the old country, and that dough would just pretty much be gone. It was like I'll make it and then he'll throw it away. So
like it wasn't where it needed to be.
Well, it was like he wanted me to experience how they made it back then.
Got it.
And it's something like I'm over here like punching the dough for an hour, and then finish, and then he was like, all right, cool. And then throw it away. I'm like, damn, I did all that for nothing. Like, come on. But it was pretty much like him, to show me how it was originally, formed. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was like one of the best experiences I've done in my life. And
how long were you there for?
About 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, something like just to learn, just to meet people and just be in the business. Like a pizza, and that pretty much like kind of grow my passion for.
Did you feel like the Italian people were super welcoming to you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like there was a time where I'm walking down the street and I met these two guys. I was grocery shopping and met these two guys, and like they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'll just do shopping." Like, come, we'll make you lunch.
Really?
I'm
Yeah,
like, I go to like a little apartment, a little small TV. They're making their marinara from scratch, and then I was there for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
And stuff, drinking some wine and.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I kind of get that sense of hospitality when I walk into the well, too. Everybody's kind of hanging out. It feels like every single person that walks in here knows you, too.
Yes, and that's how it is here. Like, I want that personable feeling. I want to be able to talk to every customer and say, hey, how's your day? Or, like, how's your kids doing? Like, there's times where I've seen a kid being a baby and now 5-6 years old, so just like seeing.
I know. That's crazy,
life,
right?
Yeah, it's awesome. And that's why I love to do what I do, because I get to meet a lot of cool people.
I went back to Massachusetts, where I'm from, and I grew up actually in a smaller town in Massachusetts, about 60 miles west of Boston, called Charlton. And the Greeks made the pizza there. They had kind of like that super cheesy, tangy red sauce type stuff. And I went back. We were moving my mother out of the house she lived in for 50 years, and I went back and I sat in the pizzeria, and I sat there for like an hour. And I was like, man, all these memories just get drawn up, the local pizzeria. And it's just something that, being out in Colorado, which I love it here, but, the culture is a little bit more tacos and burritos and stuff like that. And I just miss this. And that, anyone who's watching from the East Coast, I would encourage them to come in here, because they're going to get that same nostalgic feeling that I get, which is pretty awesome.
And that's what we try to do here, try to do like that, bringing it back from when we were kids and stuff.
Right.
I know me growing up, my mom had a pizzeria. I used to walk from school to the pizzeria just to be there.
Right.
To go back there and watch everybody make pizzas.
Right.
And then me growing up, and I'm able to do the same thing that they were doing when I was, younger, watching them.
Yeah.
So that's the awesome thing about it.
So you're half Peruvian. Is there any Peruvian influence, or is there anything that you've learned that's helped you with your Italian food?
Not necessarily, but like the one thing that my mom always taught me is the passion. Like, like people could tell when they eat the food, it's love.
Yeah.
Love behind it.
Yeah, we talk about that with soul food and stuff like that too. Does it? And it's like in Italian food in particular, Italian American food too. It's all about like the grandma. You think about the grandma cooking at home, and I don't know why it tastes better. I don't think there's any science behind that, but I think what you're talking about is true. I think you could taste the passion in food.
And that's what it is. Like even my grandma back in Peru, she's Italian. Lived in Peru, and just like being in the kitchen and just felt all the love, going in her marinara and, making fresh gnocchi and stuff like that. It's like her passion was to make me feel not hungry no more, like full.
Yeah.
Because any Italian family, like if you go into the kitchen and they ask you for the food, you better eat the food.
I know, and I don't know how you stay as slim as you do,
man,
Yeah.
it's one of the hardest things to having a restaurant. You have
Yeah.
one too, so it's
Yeah.
tough because you want to be able to taste
everything,
make sure
Yeah.
the quality is still there.
But pizza's one of those things you can eat every day.
Oh,
like I
man.
don't know, people like who love pizza. They're like, I can eat pizza every day. I can eat it warm. I can eat it cold. I can eat Neapolitan. I can eat East Coast style. I can eat now. There's Detroit style things going on.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the dough and the cheese and just everything that you want, and it just makes you feel great.
And like the thing about my crust, I seem different to other people's crust. It's so light.
Yeah.
Like you can have a whole 12-inch pizza by yourself, and like, damn, like I eat the whole pizza by myself. Like,
Right.
wow, I can't even believe it because like most pizzas are either heavy,
Yeah.
a little thicker. I do like more like the New York style thin crust,
Yeah, and that's just the dough recipe. It's not how you're cooking it or anything like that.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the dough for the lightness.
Yeah.
But the thing about like another key thing about making a good pie is your oven. You gotta know your oven.
Right.
You gotta know your hot spots, your cold spots.
Right.
And like I've worked with this oven for years.
Yeah.
So I know this oven pretty well.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's all about how you cook the pizza as well. You want to
Yeah.
be able to like get that nice crisp to at the bottom and stuff.
Mm-hmm. This sauce, and I miss this kind of like tangy, like thick red sauce.
Yes.
So good. How's that calzone looking?
Ooh, look at that. Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
That looks ready.
That's beautiful. I like to put it on the stone to get the crisp on the bottom of it because right
Okay.
there, that's like one of the hottest things in the oven is the stone because it just absorbs all that heat.
Okay. Yeah, that way it doesn't get soggy when you're eating it.
Exactly,
on the bottom.
because you want that crisp,
Right.
And that's the thing about having stone that I love compared to other ovens and stuff because you get that nice crisp to it.
Wow, look at that. I mean, like that's like a meal for two for sure.
Yeah. And then I do my my little secret.
What we got here?
A little garlic butter.
Okay.
Get that nice little. That's where it's at right there. Get that nice little
shine on it.
Yeah, for
Wow,
sure.
that looks gorgeous.
So so that's your typical calzone,
I cannot wait to cut into this thing.
Jeez.
Wow, beautiful. And I can smell that garlic too.
Smell that garlic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got? What's our cheese mix here?
So I do a 50-50, like an East Coast blend. So you get the part skin, the whole milk, because you want to get that creamy cheese. You want to be able to, like, when you pull off the slice, you want that cheese to like kind of like stretch out. That's when you know it's really good cheese.
Yeah.
So I like using 50-50 blend.
Cool. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do meat.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. Let's
You
see.
let me know.
What
I got all the options right here.
All right. I want peppers.
You want some peppers?
Olives.
Do it.
And I think just straight pepperoni, man.
You want some pepperoni too?
I think so. I love pepperoni pizza. All that saltiness and fattiness.
It's a classic, I like to do, like, when I go to new pizzerias and stuff, like, my thing is just to get, like, a plain cheese. 'Cause I want to be able to taste the dough, taste the sauce, and taste the cheese.
I know plain cheese. A plain cheese pizza is like one of the kind of, I don't know, just most relaxing things for me. It's comforting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my dad always told me, he's like, you go to an Italian restaurant, the only thing you order is spaghetti marinara.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the marinara. If the marinara is good, that means pretty much
everything's going to be good.
Everything can be good anyway.
Yeah. For sure.
So that's this pie right here. Let's throw this in this bad boy. Let that cook for a few minutes.
Why do you think out in Colorado that there's not more East Coast style pizzeria? A lot of people from the East Coast out here.
I was talking about that the other day. Like, there's no bodegas. There's no bodegas out here.
Yeah.
You don't go to, like, there's like the butcher, like your local butcher. Like there's a few out here, but not like how back east is.
Right.
And I wonder why, like, Italian delis. There's some cool Italian delis here, but not like how it's out there.
Right.
Out
everywhere. Every town had one.
everywhere.
Every single town.
Like, you go to every neighborhood.
And I remember, like, when I was living out there, and Saturday morning, I would wake up, I'd go to the farm stand, get my vegetables. I'd drive to a sausage maker to get my sausage. This guy Edward Ed Norton's Beats. I would go to a butcher shop, which is separate from that, right? If I wanted to get any cuts, special cuts or anything like that, I'd go to a seafood market, and it was like almost like it's like pageantry. You know what I'm saying?
Was,
like you're going from place to place, and it was my routine.
Right.
And it made my weekend like fulfilling to me.
Of course.
And then I went home and I would cook, and I would have friends over, and that's kind of what it was all about.
Right.
And so that's what this type of place stirs up those type of memories.
I would, I love that whole that East Coast hustle, like you were saying, like go to different spots, you talk to everybody, everybody knows you, you know. I love that. So that's why here I try to, duplicate that, like,
It feels like it, This definitely feels like an East Coast pizzeria.
Right. Yeah, people always say, where you from? Like, what, part of you from? I'm like, I'm born here in Denver, Colorado. Like, well, I feel like you're from, back east and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's check this pie out right now. Look at that. Look at that crust. See that nice little golden crust? But the thing about that is the bottom's not golden. See that's all white down there?
Yep.
You don't want that. You want it to be nice and crisp. So that's where the stone comes in. The stone gets that heat and cooks the bottom of the pizza. Because right now it's just the top's cooked. You want to be able to cook so like an even cook throughout the whole pie.
There's not a lot of things I get more excited about than seeing cheese bubble up on the top of a pizza. I can't wait to cut this thing up.
Look at that crust. So
yeah, and it's quick. That browns up real quick.
It does.
Okay.
It's that heat. We got 550 degrees. So
that's incredible.
Look at that pie. And like the best thing about a good pie is when you cut it right, you get that nice crisp sound. So you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like
sounds like home.
That's what you want to hear. You want to be able to hear that nice crunch when you're cutting into the pizza because you want that nice crispiness. I like my pies crispy.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So there you go. Nice well pizza right there.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, we just got done making these things. I should say Dino did. I cannot wait to dive into this. This is awesome. And, I haven't had a calzone in a while, and I'm super excited about this. So I'm going to get in here. I got my side of marinara. I got this. Look at this thing.
Look at that thing, yeah. Jeez.
That's incredible. So, if you haven't had a calzone, I would urge you. Really good. Really, really good. Stuff with meat, cheese, peppers, the whole thing. So I love your background. I think it's super interesting. You're a community guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about like growing up and what was it like sitting around a table with your family? And
it was awesome. Like I was telling you, I'm half Italian, half Peruvian, but I was more raised Peruvian style because my Italian family always lived in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's crazy. Your Italian family lived in Peru.
Yeah. So like my grandparents, they migrated to Peru during the World War II, back in 1948.
Yeah.
And that's where my mom and my dad met, was in Peru.
Okay. In Lima?
In Lima, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's in my opinion, the best food city in the world. So,
no, the ceviche there. Oh man, it's
incredible.
But yeah, so like just being here with my moms and my my grandma, my grandfather, like the person who I looked up to the most was my grandfather. And just hearing stories and just eating good Peruvian food. The thing about that is when we go to my grandma's house, we always ate in the kitchen.
Right.
My grandma right there, table, TV right there, watching her novelas, and the oven right there, stove, just a bunch of stuff cooking up and stuff. So that was a cool thing about it. So I was able to watch her cook.
Yeah.
And enjoy conversation with my grandfather.
That really comes through in your style of hospitality.
Yes.
And we talk a lot about it in our industry. It's, I think, one of the things that has disappointed me over the years is that hospitality typically has been judged in the media as like Northern European, style.
Yes.
And I grew up with a Puerto Rican father, so very similar. I mean, you walk in the house, you're going to get a hug.
Of course.
You're going to eat food. Yeah, it's going to be lively. Conversation's going to be spirited.
Yes,
all that type of stuff.
No, for sure.
So pretty exciting stuff.
That's the cool thing about growing up in a Latin family. Everybody's so close. It's us. Families first. Enjoying breaking bread and talking about good old times and where my grandfather and my grandma came from, and that's the cool thing about that is you get to hear stories that you never even heard about.
Passed on from generation.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
generation.
So that's the cool thing is just the storytelling and stuff is the best thing about
Very cool. I got to get into this pizza.
Yeah.
All right. So look at this. Dino talked about the stretchy cheese.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Yep.
That is awesome. Oh, good.
Like that?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a tangy sauce. Saltiness of the pepperoni and the olives. Little crunch from the peppers.
Yes.
Yeah, full. And the biggest thing with East Coast pizza, of course, is the fold.
The fold, yeah.
You got to be able to fold it.
You want to fold it, yeah.
Right. So that's how we do it out east.
It's that fold. There you go.
Wow. Of course, I took the biggest bite I could possibly have. I'm probably going to eat all this after we're done filming. So
why not?
Amazing. Dino?
Yes.
Come out here and give me a hug, man.
Oh man, it was lovely.
Fucking awesome.
Always good hanging out with you, Juan. My man. Yeah, of course.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. This is Where Juan Eats.